All right, ready to get swept away. We're diving headfirst into 100 Years of Solitude. Gabriel Garcia Marquez's masterpiece, the one that basically throws us into this incredible world of magical realism and doesn't let go.
Yeah, it's a total whirlwind. You don't just read 100 Years of Solitude, you really experience it.
Exactly. That's the beauty of magical realism, right? That's like, imagine everyday life, but with a dash of the extraordinary, the impossible, just seamlessly woven in. That's Macondo for you, this mythical town where the Buendia family saga unfolds over generations. And talk about a family, right? We start with the patriarch, José Arcadio Buendía, the founder of Macondo himself.
Oh, he's a fascinating character, so complex. On one hand, you see this boundless curiosity in him, like a childlike sense of wonder about, well, everything. Remember when Melquiades, the gypsy, shows up with ice for the first time?
Oh, I love that part.
It's priceless. Jose Arcadio is floored, like a kid in a candy store, utterly captivated by something he thought was impossible.
He can't resist the unknown, even if it means trading away a chest full of gold coins for Ursula.
Exactly. And that's the other side of a Jose Arcadio, impulsive. And to be honest, sometimes his judgment isn't the best. He's so driven by this thirst for knowledge, for progress, that he often forgets to think about the consequences, for himself and his family.
It really makes you think about the cyclical nature of the story, right? I mean, his own father was obsessed with alchemy, practically driven mad by it, and now here's Jose Arcadio following the same path, trying to unlock the secrets of the universe. Is it hereditary, this insatiable curiosity? Is it destined to just keep repeating in every generation?
And that's the brilliance of Marquez. He plants these patterns, these echoes of the past, and forces us as readers to confront this question. Are we really in control of our own destinies? Or are we, playing out a script that's already been written? And on top of that, we have the looming threat of incest in the Buendia family history, this fear of having a child born with the tail of a pig.
It's like a curse hanging over everything they do.
It really speaks to the dangers of isolation, the potential consequences of a closed society.
Right, like a closed society where these fears and patterns can just fester, and then boom, into this already complex family dynamic walks Rebecca. The orphan niece arriving with her parents' bones.
Talk about making an entrance. But it's more than just dramatic timing. Her arrival coincides with this insomnia plague that hits Macondo. It's like even the town can't escape its past, haunted by these memories it can't quite recall.
And poor Rebecca, she develops this unusual coping mechanism, eating dirt.
It's both heartbreaking and, strange, but when you think about it in the context of magical realism, it's almost poetic, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
It's like this primal instinct, a regression to something elemental. Rebecca's trying to fill a void, to ground herself in a world that feels like it's spinning out of control. And it connects her to Macondo, to this place where the earth itself seems to hold both magic and madness.
And speaking of madness, we can't forget about Colonel Aureliano Buendia, a man who seems to embody both the passion and the isolation that run through this family.
Absolutely. He's this legendary figure, a symbol of rebellion against injustice. And yet, he remains deeply solitary, even when surrounded by revolution and love.
It's like he's this tragic hero fighting for something bigger than himself, but unable to connect with the people he loves most.
And then there's Amaranta, so wrapped up in her own bitterness, her unrequited love for Pietro Crespi, turning into something, toxic. It blinds her to Aureliano's feelings, and it leads her to make some truly heartbreaking choices. Remember when she swears to stop Rebecca's marriage to Pietro Crespi?
Yeah, it's intense.
It's a perfect example of how Marquez takes these personal struggles and uses them to reflect those bigger themes of fate and inevitability. Like, these things are just going to happen no matter what.
It's like they're trapped by their own history, their own choices. And speaking of Rebecca, her dirt eating, it takes on this whole other layer of meaning after Pietro Crespi's suicide.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like she's consuming her grief, trying to swallow down this overwhelming sense of loss.
Such a powerful image. And it really highlights that cyclical nature of suffering in the novel. Like we talk about Jose Arcadio mirroring his father's obsession with alchemy, or Rebecca's pain. It echoes the pain of those who came before her. This cycle of suffering, it just keeps repeating.
And all of this is happening against the backdrop of political turmoil in Macondo. It's almost as if these characters are caught in the middle of this whirlwind of history, their lives completely at the mercy of forces outside their control.
Right, and Marquez is so skilled at weaving together the personal and the political, showing how external forces can intensify these internal conflicts. Think about when the banana company arrives. It promises progress, prosperity, but at what cost?
It's like this sudden intrusion, right? This outside force disrupting the delicate balance of life in Macondo. And it's not just economics, it's culture, identity, the soul of the town. Everything's at stake.
Exactly. The banana company, it becomes this symbol of exploitation, of the kind of unchecked capitalism that can be so destructive. It disrupts tradition, sparks unrest, and ultimately it fuels violence. And in a way, it mirrors the self-destructive tendencies we see in the Buendia family.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
They're both consumed by their internal struggles, kind of blind to the wider consequences of their actions.
It's like the whole town of Macondo is mirroring that self-destruction, isn't it? I mean, think about that relentless rain after the Banana Company massacre. It just washes away years of history, turns the town into practically a swamp.
Right. And you're left wondering, is this cleansing? Or is it like a drowning? It's hard to say.
It's both, in a way.
And that's what makes Marquez's work so powerful. The rain, it symbolizes this washing away of the old, but also a descent into stagnation, this inability to move forward. It's almost like the town, like the Buendias themselves, are stuck in this loop of decay and renewal. They can't escape the weight of their own past.
And you see it most clearly in the older generation, I think. Colonel Aureliano Buendia, he retreats into himself, finds solace in making those tiny goldfishes over and over, creating and destroying. And then there's Ursula, the matriarch, the one who held the family together for so long. She starts to fade, loses her sight.
It's heartbreaking, really.
These really powerful images that show us, time marches on. Even in a place like Macondo, a place where magic feels so real, age catches up to everyone.
But even amidst all this decay, all this loss, Marquez gives us these glimpses of hope, these hints that maybe, just maybe, rebirth is possible.
And that's where Amaranta Ursula comes in, right? Arriving from Europe with all these new ideas, this energy, this desire to revitalize the Buendia house.
Exactly. She's like this breath of fresh air, a burst of light in this world that's grown so dim.
She represents hope, right? The possibility of breaking free from the past, from these cycles that have haunted the family for so long.
Right, but, and this is key, even her efforts to modernize the house, they're ultimately futile.
Almost like it's impossible to escape what's already been set in motion.
Exactly. It's a reminder that some cycles are beyond our control, no matter how hard we try to break free. And then, of course, there's the birth of Aureliano, Amaranta Ursula's child, named after his ancestor, the founder of Macondo.
It's like history is about to repeat itself. You can almost feel it in your bones.
And it does. The name Aureliano, it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. This child, born into a family on the verge of falling apart, he carries the weight of all those generations before him. His birth, it's meant to be the symbol of renewal, but it's intertwined with tragedy from the start.
And that tragedy comes with Amaranta Ursula's death during childbirth, right?
Right, and the baby, he's left to this family that's completely broken. It's impossible not to feel like something terrible is about to happen.
And it does. The baby's abandoned, alone, and then, he's carried away by ants, just like Melchiades predicted all those years ago.
It's a devastating ending, a real full circle moment that emphasizes the cyclical nature of time, of fate, of this family's destiny.
So much to unpack there. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Why does 100 Years of Solitude still resonate so strongly with readers, even after all these years?
It's Marquez's ability to capture the human experience, with all its complexities, its contradictions, the magic and the heartbreak. It's a story about the things that bind us, family, love, loss, about the weight of history and the desire for something more. And it also forces us to confront this uncomfortable truth. Maybe we are trapped in our own cycles, repeating the same mistakes as those who came before us.
It really makes you wonder, how much of our lives is predetermined? How much control do we actually have? It's a question that stays with me long after you finish the book. A reminder that the past isn't really past, it's always shaping our present and our future. Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the captivating world of 100 Years of Solitude. We've explored the magic, the tragedy, the enduring power of this incredible novel. Until next time, keep those pages turning and remember, there's always something new to discover in the world of literature.